We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest. Which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Now, this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the mountain. Good evening in the central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Reparations perspective, bringing you those Freedmen hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. Welcome one and all. I see you, T. Shields, Boy Wonder, Ivy Dreams. And for those of you tuning in from Facebook and Twitter, welcome one and all to the live. This is part 2. This is part 2, family. It was intense yesterday. My brother DJ Segwan said, y'all were trying to calm a sister down. Turn down for what? Turn down for what? We are out of time. We are out of time. Listen, I don't understand why everybody ain't as turned up as me. I don't understand why we haven't taken to the streets in protest against the intentional neglect and the ethno-genocidal plans of the Freedmen lineage to avoid that 6.2 quadrillion and greater checks that need to be flowing into these bank accounts of ours, 200 years ago. No, I'm very passionate. Y'all can turn down your volume, but I'm not ever turning down when it comes to our issues. So you're going to need to adjust your volume because TRP is going hard in the paint for American freedmen. Okay? And I've got a big voice because there was about 4 of us in my family. I had 2 sisters and a brother. And so my voice is big because we all had to scream louder than the next to get the attention we needed. I come from one of them kind of families, okay? So I don't know how to adjust my passion. When I get into a flow, like I flowed last night at the Noir DOS, shut the space down for the first half of the segment on what's the beef between Africans wherein American freedmen are concerned. I just let the ancestors use me. I just let the God in me use me. So y'all need to adjust your volume, okay? You know what? I got to be on a Twitter space about weaponizing the vote at 8 o'clock. I'm not going to belabor. I know we going past 8. I already need to tell the hostess of that space that I'll get there where I can. You know, Alita Adams. Okay? I will get there when I freaking can. Okay? Shout out to Black Authority. You got it all wrong on Camila Moore. I'm going to deal with you in my response video. You came for Chair Moore. That's not how any of this works for folks who just comfortably sit on ScrewTube for the past 12 years. Well, I can't accuse you of that. You've been busy in these streets. I see your billboards, and you bring great content. But as you know, this is greater than content. As you know, we are in a predominantly Hispanic state. We are 2 million today, 15 million. So Chair Moore can't be as radical as you. But we're going to get into it. That's a whole nother broadcast. I will be responding. Okay, I will be responding. So you got it way wrong where Chair Moore was concerned. But thankfully, you came to your senses when it came to Marcel Dixon. Okay. Thank you, DJ Seg1. You're going to have to put Marcel stuff up in there. I appreciate you, though. Yeah, in the chat, please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and please donate to Marcel for Congress. Oh, yeah. TBA got it right where Marcel is concerned, and I am going to be playing that segment as well. He already said it. I know y'all gonna be, sharing this one. Yes, that interview was fire. Got 44,000 views so far. Y'all, I mean, these ones with these bigger subs just eating up TRP like the Pac-Man, but it's okay. I'll take my little modest, 250 views. Everybody started somewhere, okay? Everybody started at the bottom. And I don't feel I'm doing too bad. I really don't, given that I had to start all over thanks to Racebook. But I'm not going to belabor that. I thank each and every one of you for being here. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and please, please, please donate on recurring to Marcel Dixon at marcelforcongress.com. Let's get into it. Now, listen, for those of you who would like to see me comment in between, I am a whole mama, okay? I've got a hungry track star in my midst. I got to prepare her steak and potatoes and asparagus. So I'm going to let Connie do what she do, Noir DOS do what she do, and I'll be back with my comments on the backhand side. I think we got another hour 15 of her putting them on the ropes, wearing their disdain for the very people whose table they eat from while we beg in the street, while we're homeless. I'm going to let her put them on the ropes for the next hour 16, I think we at that time. And then I'll be back with my comments. Stand by. Thank you for joining.
Domain, running freeways to our communities, everything to keep destabilizing us. I'm going to stop talking because there's so much more I could speak about, but I just wanted to comment. I think it was Jazz that came up. No, we don't hate Africans more than whoever, Latinos, whoever. But we sure in the fuck hate anybody that's hating on us. And right now, black immigrants are acting mighty, mighty nasty. I close. Who's up next?
Now that's a far.
Who's up next?
It should be me.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was born in 55.
Who said they were born in 55?
Me, I was born in 55, and the name don't have to explain anything, so you know I'm from here.
I hear it in your voice. 55.
Right.
55, daddy.
Hey, but I remember segregation. Now, they integrated when I was going into the third grade. But I remember segregation. I remember the segregated theaters, the colored fountains, and all that other shit. So it ain't been that long ago. And what trips me out, that the Africans are always trying to fix their country, but they over here. How in the hell you going to be over here and you trying to fix your country? That's what I don't understand. Now, when I grew up, I never heard that African booty scratcher shit or none of that shit. I don't know where they get that from. When I grew up, it was only black and white people. And the town I come from, born and raised there, the Underground Railroad went right through it. In Ripley, Ohio, is 9 miles down the road from where I was born. So I don't know why they come over here and try to dog us out, because we understand white people. When they get taught to their asses, they're going to break them and send them back. I don't give a damn if they first generation or second generation. When they get tired of them, they're going to send them back. I land my plane with that.
You know, this is my prediction. So just this week alone, they're bringing in a new batch of immigrants, 100,000. They're trying to remove, I forgot the act under Trump, but they're trying to remove the
It's
thing.
called Title 42 or something.
Title 42, but they're trying to not have limits on countries. You know how they have a quota system on how many people can come in from each country? So they're flooding this country with immigrants. So the prediction is there's going to be 500,000 immigrants. Already this week, 100,000 came in. An additional 400 to 500,000 coming in over the next 6 months. So the black immigrants don't even realize they have the lowest quota of all other countries. Black countries get the least amount of people that are allowed to come in. These jobs, there has to be jobs for all these neo-Nazi Ukrainians coming in. There has to be jobs for all these Latinos and all these Nordic nations, whatever. They don't understand that they've been being used to undermine us, and you're about to be pushed to the bottom. They don't see the long term. They don't see the long play. They don't, like you said, they break their tools, like this Ketanji woman. I think she's Nigerian or half Nigerian. I mean, I know she's Nigerian, but I don't know if she's half or full. Why is it not a coincidence that everyone they select has a white spouse? Everyone on television, all the newscasters, all the commentators, why do they have white spouses? Or why are they foreign? This is a long play that white people are exercising. And back to immigration. Immigration is meant to keep wages down, but it particularly suppresses the wages of Black Americans. You can Google these things. So I'll let you go back and speak, Bobby, but I just had to, you know me, I had to jump in. They're going to break their tools. And again, like today, everybody was talking about the Nigerian whose white girlfriend killed him. I don't know why the immigrants aren't seeing the pattern we're seeing. They're marrying these white people, they're dating them, they're getting killed every fucking day. Their women are getting beat, dragged, and killed. The men are getting killed. And they just don't see it. They're, for some reason, how can you come to someone's country and tell us, well, the white man fucked up our country, but then come over here and love on the white man to the detriment of other Black people who only loved on you and wanted to love on you. Anyway, go ahead, Bobby.
Well, that guy that got killed, he had all kind of tweets about how he hated Black people. But
Black
remember,
people and Black women, and all his friends were white.
yeah, and you remember the Jamaican guy that went hunting with a bunch
Yep.
of white
Yep.
dudes? Now,
Mr. Pierce.
a Black American FBA is not gonna go hunting with a bunch of white dudes. Come on now. But I don't have anything else to say. But that 100,000 Ukrainians is going to turn in probably to 500,000.
Well, we see it, they don't. Anybody else? Who's up next? Who's up next?
Yeah, I think I'm up next.
Go ahead, Sweetness.
Hi, Nordis. How you doing? So
Hey,
good to see you.
sister. You two, I haven't seen you in a minute.
I'm telling you, I just miss you hosting, man. You be getting down on being real. I love it. You know, that's what we need more of, keeping it real and truthful. Yeah, everything you were saying is so right on point, because for the simple reason, see, they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand. Well, at least the immigrants aren't understanding. Right now, like you said, they're probably going to be bringing in millions before you know it of the Ukrainians, because as you notice, most of the immigrants that they've been flooding in are basically white supremacists. Racist, anti-black, have anti-black sentiments. And and it is cheap labor. That's the only reason why they're doing. I mean, if they understood the history, they would understand the pattern of what white supremacy has been doing. They went from enslavement, for free labor, to prison system for free labor. Not giving equal wages for free labor, and trying to replace us with immigrants for free labor. So you're right. They're going to break their tools. They're going to, give themselves enough rope to hang themselves, because you're literally flooding the United States with immigrants. There's like, I think 45 million already immigrants in the United States, versus I think 48 million Black people, and 1.2 of those Black people are Africans, or are black immigrants. So people need to understand the reality of this, and just how important it is that we understand we need to stop this immigration overflow. It's deliberately being done. And they don't understand that when they bring these Ukrainians and these Afghanistans in, that they're not going to probably replace their job. They're going to be replacing the white collar jobs, and therefore they're going to be working for them, bunch of neo-Nazis. That's who they're going to be working for, So I don't know. This is a reality check. I think that we need to really seriously focus on this Ukraine issue. I didn't even know that they had already brought them in. I was hoping that we had a little bit more time, but apparently not. They bringing them in real quick, just like they did with the Afghanistan. So I lay my thoughts there.
Thank you, sister. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Something else I want to mention, guys, before the next speaker comes up. Someone said this earlier, and sister, you were just touching on like them fixing their countries, and they say, "Oh, we're sending remittances home, and we're not here to fight or to help you guys. We're just here to make money and go back home." Well, first of all, over 90% of them do not go back home. A lot of them go back home when they fail. Nobody ever talks about their failures. That's another reason they're always saying these success stories. A lot of them go back home when they don't do well in school. You can Google this. I think it's the Kenyans.
Well, when they commit a crime.
Well, that too. But Kenyans are committing suicide at a high rate. They're finding it difficult to function here in the U.S., and they're even becoming homeless. But they're going home. Now I got off topic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Google it. My favorite word. Use the Googler. But sister, they talk about we send remittances home, like they're doing something major. We send remittances home across the city. across the state, we have to help our families too. And we don't leave them. We don't flee. We could have moved to Canada. We could have moved to any country. We could have dispersed over the years and been a negligible population here, but we stay and we build community and we continue to fight. And we don't just fight for ourselves. We are the most moral people walking the planet. We are the moral compass, and everyone knows that. So I just wanted to contribute that. Who's up next? Is it OG?
Quickly though, but they've been sending out like $148 billion. Immigrants have been sending about $148 billion a year to their homelands out of here. So the United States really isn't gaining anything financially. They're losing money.
Yeah. Well, also they're having brain drain. So when you have your best and your brightest leaving the country to go get educated elsewhere, and then they don't bring those skills back home, there's two issues. One, your students are not attending your universities, they're not paying tuition there. And your best and your brightest are now working, for the same people that have undermined your country. And then they say, oh, I'm sending money back. I'm going to retire there. You can Google this. When they do try to retire there, they go into shock like, oh, shit, I can't live here. And they come right back. So, anyway, OG, you're next.
Yeah, I believe it was somebody up before me, but I think they got dropped out. I guess I'm not sure, but
Uh,
I appreciate the platform here. Um,
sure, sure.
I wasn't gonna really speak on anything except you invited me up, so I would go ahead and speak about the.
Oh, you just came up here to be cute. You just want to be seen.
Yeah, I'm still cute.
Uh-huh.
I'm in between you and Bobby. Actually, my picture literally is between you and Bobby. So
On my screen, it's not.
yeah. See, I'm 62.
Uh,
You fairly proud of that. Uh, but kind of getting discouraged by all the young folks that's kind of trying to dismiss, you know, uh, my generation. Like they don't think we worked hard enough, or they don't think we handled the civil rights movement well enough. We didn't set it up for them to be able to, have even more freedoms than what they have now, and the technology, as it were. So we didn't work hard enough to be a part of that uh, in whatever way that they're trying to understand it now. Between all the different groups, the sects as far as the FBA and ADOS
well,
and
what's your response when they say that? What's your response?
well, I go toe to toe for a minute, but you know I don't really want to waste that energy like that, because it's like a foolish fight, because
But it's actually
I'm
not.
mostly
It's actually
outnumbered.
not, though.
Well, it's not, but I'm outnumbered, and for me to fight back viably, I would have to go all out. I would have to like insult them to the maximum.
Are you
You know,
talking
like
about
like your
Black
mama jokes.
Americans? Or are you talking about Black immigrants at this
Uh,
point?
well, I mean, it's some parts of both, but some of my Black American family, they having a hard time receiving, what OGs have to say,
Yeah,
because again, they don't feel like we handle the situations, for the civil rights movements correctly enough. You
but
know,
here's my thing. How can you handle such a savage period of time when they killed every leader we had? Like, and people only know about the big names. Anybody that was sprouting up to be a community organizer or a leader was killed. So when you look at John Lewis and Jesse Jackson, ask yourselves why they weren't killed. Because
yeah, I mean, they were survivors in their own right. Uh,
nah, they were agents. Okay, they were agents. So
yeah, they
that,
split it part time.
yeah, so there's that. They killed everyone. They were sicking dogs on us, fire hoses, lynching us. What did people expect people to do during that period of time? Everybody was supposed to die. I mean, we could try. I think it's kind of a good strategy if we all rebelled. But
Well, if
anyway,
we went with that logic, then that's what they should have done in Africa.
that's my point. That's
With
my
people
point.
putting people on ships and all, they should have all died then fighting the oppression then. If
But
if
but
that was the case.
even in modern day, right now in Africa, they need to run up. It's more of them than there is the military and the police. Run up, fix it.
When you're talking about a whole continent, that's a whole continent of people that, what are you worried about? You on your homeland, so there's really nothing to worry about, Uh, but
And also during the civil rights movement, they didn't have the internet. Word had to get
correct,
around via mouth.
exactly. We didn't have all of that.
Yeah.
We didn't.
You there? I can't hear you. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
my phone.
we didn't have the internet. We didn't, none of the technology. Uh, so we couldn't just fight against things just willy nilly. We had to strategize because we were, our groups and movements were being infiltrated. I still remember the Black Panther movement with the free meals and free lunches and all the that stuff. I remember all of that.
I have a question though, because see, I'm 65 and I was like 11 or 12 years old during that time. There wasn't very much I could do. So when they say them old niggas and talk about 50, 60-year-old, they forget that we were kids, at that time.
Right,
There
exactly.
was
That
nothing
too.
we could do. Now I can understand like my dad's age and them because my dad is 85 and they didn't teach us anything. I didn't even learn about Black history until I left Colorado because they you couldn't even find Black information in the libraries at that time. You know, so I'm just so need to stop generalizing elderly Black people with everyone because if it wasn't for the ones that historically, have been activists, then they wouldn't even have any idols to go along with, so it couldn't have been all old niggers because for the simple reason a lot of them died, for our rights.
Yeah, we
So
we are the contemporaries. So we have knowledge and we have everything we need to go against the grain, but you know why do we feel like we have to be a sacrificial lamb at this point in our life when if we were going to sacrifice, I would have much rather sacrificed when I was 20.
yeah, by then everybody had already given in the African American and all that. So everybody had died down, the civil rights and all that died down. Even Black Power. I was ready when Black Power came out. That didn't even fizz out. And I was living in Colorado, so there wasn't too much I could do at the time.
But sister, remember this too. We got to remember we had a strong Black middle class then. Remember
Absolutely.
the 70s and the 80s, we were making the biggest gains of our lives. And then that's when they were like, we got to stop this. That's when they
Crack.
started. Yep, the crack. They started in New York with the heroin.
Right.
Then they hit us with crack, and then they used the crack epidemic to seize
That's
people's.
true.
They
Yeah.
they used a crack epidemic to seize people's homes who had nothing to do with crack. Like if their son lived there and he sold crack, even if those people had already paid that house off, they took that house. They took their cars. They took everything.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they devastated the Black community on purpose.
Oh,
Well, we
exactly. And
blame
that's
we
what they
blame
did to bring down the Black Power movement. They did everything, including bomb the Philadelphia
Yep,
neighborhood.
we're the only.
but we're blamed though for letting crack happen. See, we're blamed also for letting crack
But
happen.
OG, how come right now white people they don't remember they had us all on TV cracked out, right?
Yes.
White people are cracked the fuck out right now on meth and all types of opioids, and they call it the opioid crisis. They discuss it so you know such
Yes, it's
hushed tone.
important now. It's important.
Yeah,
It's
but
important to them
they
now.
they're not shaming them on TV. They got programs. They just sued.
Yeah, giving them crack pipe needles,
Well, they're trying to do
pipes
that.
and all
They're
that.
trying to do that to our community, but then they just
Yeah, but I think that was also an excuse to give it out to the meth. You know what I'm saying? Because his son is a crackhead
yeah,
addict.
and they just sued. What's the company that was making? that they're all addicted to. Damn. Come on, somebody help me out. Um,
Who,
yeah,
Pfizer?
but what's this drug that they go get a prescription and they get strung? Oxycontin?
It's
Yeah.
Oxycontin.
Oh,
And so
I
look,
don't
they
know.
actually got to sue the manufacturer. White people are coming up on their family members dying from opioids. They have bankrupted this country. White people always come up. And that's why, back to the title of the room, when I go, what's the true beef? How can we even have beef with Africans when we've been beefing with white people for so long? We can't even be thinking about other people to beef with.
Seriously?
Well, we didn't expect to have beef with other, we didn't expect to have beef with Africa like that.
We didn't expect to have, what do you
Yeah,
mean
they
like
just
that?
made
Did
it.
you expect to have
They
any
just
beef?
forced that on us. No, no. I mean, I'm telling you, I was growing up, I didn't even know about Africans or learn about even speak to Africans till the
80s.
late
Oh,
1970s,
the
early
80s
'80s.
when I saw them.
Yeah, the first time I even saw them was like in probably I don't even know, probably I don't even know when the first time I even seen an African, literally.
Do you remember the guy that was in the room earlier, something like Dog TV, and he said, "You won't let me talk," because he was saying some asinine stuff. But he did that thing that a lot of black immigrants do that I can't. I just detest it. Oh, when I moved to Canada, a cop, a white cop, she didn't know if I was Nigerian or black. She just saw a big black man. Why do they keep narrowing down our experience in the United States to police killings? We have a long and great history in this country, but we have a long list of other atrocities. And yes, the fuck, they do know who you are. If they don't know by looks,
They know it. They know it. Girl,
if
please, you know good and well that this is just a bunch of BS that
yeah,
they're
if they
doing.
don't
It's
know by
just
looks, they
yeah.
know by their name.
They're deliberately playing
Yeah.
the ignorant,
That's exactly why I
clueless.
don't look for apologies.
That's why I don't even waste my time discussing anything with them because it's a waste of breath.
Hmm.
Seriously, are
Right.
you really going to trust them in the end? I mean, their history shows you can't trust them. They don't even trust each other. But there's no talking point that's going to sell me that I can turn my back and trust them not to put a knife in it.
No,
Period.
Right.
like I said
That's
earlier, if you can't get along with your own people in your country, you got 50 different in your own country, one country. You got 50 different tribes, 5,000 tribes, depends on the country. And you all don't like one another. And that's why I keep telling people this isn't even personal. This is just what they know. But at some point, I'm trying to get them to see you do see what's happening to the continent. So, what is your bright exit plan to keep running around the world? We saw them getting their asses beat in Ukraine. And now they're over there talking about we want to stay and fight. We'll do anything not to go back to Nigeria. And then they talked all this shit about us. I didn't see near one room with Africans. I saw a room about Africans talking about the Ukrainian incidents of them getting beat up and not being able to leave the country, but they weren't in there talking that shit they were talking to us or that they talked to us. They don't go in there, all these fuck these Ukrainians, fuck these white people. We're the only people that talk like that. And then they say,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
they say you have no smoke for anybody. You know we have smoke for everybody, and nobody fucks with us in real life. Even the Africans don't fuck with us in real life, like on the streets. But they're the only ones that get on this app. You can have a room about immigration. They're the only ones that come in there. Everybody else is minding their business, or they come in and have a civil conversation. When I got on Clubhouse, I don't know what year that was, 2020 or 2019, we were talking about reparations. We were stunned. Africans just started flooding the rooms. Oh, you got to have reparations for everybody. Oh, you guys are divisive. You're calling yourself ADOS. Why don't you want to be with us anymore? We're like, we were never together. And why are you so worried about our reparations? Why are you worried about what we call ourselves? Do you have something to lose if we're no longer just black? And that box doesn't just say black anymore, it says exactly what type of so called black you are. Why would anybody be upset at what we call ourselves? Up next is Heezy. I believe it's Heezy. Oh no, yeah, Heezy. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Hey man.
Hey, this is a little off topic. I just wanted to address OG real quick.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that okay?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of got a little triggered when I heard you talking about how the youth are coming at the older generations with frustration and pointing a finger. I can give you a little insight on that if you want.
Yeah, please do. I mean, it's just what's happening.
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I'll tell you this. Um, any youth that has any type of sense will not fault the way the civil rights struggle went down. I don't think they're complaining about that. I don't think you can sit there and complain about people that got mauled, water hose sicked on them, lynched, shot, whatever, hit in the head with bricks. Even though they don't agree with the goal, which was, I believe, integration. I think that's what they're angry at. Integration. They see what integration has done to Black Americans, and I think the anger is misdirected. If you're getting disrespected, I will apologize for that. Even though I didn't do it, I don't agree with anything like that. And another thing is, I'm gonna bring it home. All right, each generation has the responsibility to check off these three boxes. What do you own? What do you control? And what are you passing down? That's each individual generation and each individual person. Personally, yourself, ask yourself that question. What do you own? What do you control? And what are you passing down? So when you leave this earth, if you do not leave at least a legacy for, if you don't have any kids like myself, or you do have kids, you need to leave a legacy for the next generation. Now, you can fault yourself for that individually. What do you own? What do you control? And what are you passing down? And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Heezy.
I
But
appreciate that.
OG is telling the truth. I've been in many a space. I don't even care when I hear it, but I hear lots of spaces and clubhouse rooms saying, I'm sorry, these old heads, these boomers, they're stuck in their ways. They don't know what they're talking about. And I just giggle to myself because we'll be in these spaces, in these rooms, and they don't even know our ages. So they just
Yeah,
assume.
really, they do. They most of us that are advocating are around our age.
Yeah, and
Seriously.
we're still in the streets doing the work. My
Mm,
my organization is nceej.org.
Oh,
In
Nordos, I know about
mm.
you. It's
hey, hey,
I'm not
hey,
saying you, but
no,
I'm
no,
sure
no,
they
no, no. I'm just
disrespect you as
addressing.
well.
Yeah, this isn't personal, but I'm saying it does go down. But you said something. I love what you said. What do you own? What do you control? What do you own? What do you control? And what can you pass down?
Yeah, I got
Um.
that Jason Black, by the way. You should.
Oh,
He
okay.
does
Well,
a couple videos on that. This is where a lot of that those talking points are coming from, but it's misguided. The way Jason Black presents it is in the proper context. A lot of people will use his talking points and abuse it.
yeah. I mean, like
But that's what's
anything.
happening, the abuse
You.
with the talking points,
Yeah, exactly.
because
Not
most of it
Jason
is a
Black is making
personal
it
thing,
very
but
clear, and
it's a
he
collective type of struggle. It's a collective type of struggle, and then what do you own? Type of thing is a personal. That's a personal plight because you can end up owning nothing but being putting forth most of the effort towards a movement.
okay.
I mean, it's a good mix of dynamics. It's a good mix of dynamic words to put together. That's fine and well, but you just have to understand those dynamics if you're speaking it in terms of what is someone bringing to the table. What his fight for the struggle is. You have to know exactly what you're talking about with that.
Yeah, and we're speaking on a more personal level too, because that's where it really hits home, right? You could struggle. Like a lot of our master teachers died broke. A lot of our civil rights activists are struggling broke. That's a problem. That's a problem. Here's the thing. What do you leave it to the next? Like, just let's keep it all personal, myself included. I'm going to be held by the same standard. What am I leaving for the next generation? I'm talking about monetary. I'm talking about tangible. It's so easy to get a damn life insurance policy and pay $50 a month, and when you pass, you're gonna be leaving off. They'll be inheriting over half a $1 million in many cases. That's so easy to do. So yeah, we need to be held accountable for not doing it.
Thankfully,
take
all of
myself
that
for a
wasn't
second.
stolen, because some of that was even stolen.
$50 a month, no excuses, none. It's all about selfishness and having lack of vision. A lot of people will think about themselves only. Like, you could just look at anybody. Take myself for instance. Like, okay, what do you do day to day? Are you diligently working towards your future to better your life, and then therefore to better your next generation? I have no kids, but I will be passing down a legacy to my nieces and nephews and my ideological sons and daughters.
I don't think you should be generalizing that the elderly people aren't doing that for them, because history shows that we had communities, we had banks full of money and everything like that, that we built up generational wealth for our children that was stolen, and people died and lost all that wealth. So you can't generalize and say it never happened. Maybe a lot of us didn't, but for the most part, I think that we understood, because we've been fighting white supremacy longer than you guys have. So we understand. So what I'm saying is you should generalize all elderly people, as having never done any of that. That's what I'm saying, because I hear that every space I go into, I hear that.
Okay, I'm putting it on a personal level. I'm even
close it out with this. This isn't a personal space. He didn't mean it personally. We're just saying that a lot of people say that, guys. I don't know if you guys could hear me, but let's move on. I did want to clarify something. My understanding of the civil rights movement is we weren't fighting for integration. We were fighting for more access to opportunity and resources. It appeared that we were fighting for integration because we wanted a better education. Historically, our schools are underfunded because it's based on property tax revenues. Of course, we don't have, our tax base is a lot lower than whites. So to get a better education, we had to go to their schools. That is my understanding of that portion of civil rights, is we didn't really care about living around them. We wanted to live better. We wanted better resources, better access. So up next we have Bobby Mayberry.
Ms. Norris, let me just say that's correct what you said. That is correct. The only thing, there are two components. There were gerrymandering and the redlining components that went into that type of struggle just for the equality and the equity. So that's what made it appear dynamically that we were trying to go for integration as well, but we really wasn't.
Yeah, we weren't going for integration. We didn't want to be around them white people the way they were treating us.
Right.
We just wanted to have equal treatment, the same opportunities that they had, but they insisted the only way we were going to get it is to move us across town to their school. So we didn't really have an option.
Right, Bobby Mayberry, it's your turn.
Yeah, I've been in them spaces with security tribe, and when they call me up, they always treat me with respect. I tell them my story, I tell them my age, and I tell them I won't be here to get reparations, but I hope they get it. And all they do is tell me, "Oh, we're gonna get it for you. You'll be around." So I never had no problem with them guys. And when they talk about them old niggas, they talk about the CBC, Congressional Black Caucus. They talking about James Clyburn and the leaders. The leaders
They're
are supposed
talking
to be.
about you, Bobby. They're talking about you.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
I
I
don't
mean,
think that's
they've
true.
never
No, I'm kidding.
disrespected me
Hold on,
either.
sister.
But
Hold on, sister. Okay, go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, but I've talked to them guys, them young guys. Them guys are very intelligent, and I like
No,
the
but
way they speak.
please. This is not what the room is about. This
Okay.
isn't personal. We're not saying we. I just said we hear it.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
not personal. It's not a big issue. This
And
room is really. This room is what's the true beef between Black Americans and Africans. And the reason I held the space, I was in another room, and I went up and I was speaking very truthfully, very honestly, and they were playing silly games, being rude, like they don't seem to comprehend that our daily lifestyle, we all have to have a seriousness about ourselves. Black Americans are known for being fun and funny and creative and entertaining and athletic, but they rarely talk about our warrior spirit, our intelligence, how we're constantly working. how we're the people that look white people in the eye. We don't kowtow to them. Even on our jobs, they say some slick shit and we immediately say, "Excuse me, what did you say?" We're known for that. But when I tried to talk to them in that space, they tried to create a narrative that all Black Americans do is sit around talking about them. We're obsessed with them. We've been trained to lives. We've been nasty to them. And then I asked them, what exactly have we done? And I keep hearing the same stories. When I was a kid, I was made fun of. Okay, Ann, we were all made fun of for one reason or another. I went to an all white school, and the Black people that went there were bussed in, and they called me the Oreo. Do I hate all Black people? Nope. Do I hate Black Americans? I'm a healthy adult woman. Childhood taunting should not be, first and foremost, living in my brain. We are living in the United States trying to survive in our country. We don't need people who look like us trying to talk for us and saying things that run completely counter to what we're doing. They're all over television now. And then when they do interviews off TV, they always have to have this gratuitous moment. Oh, in my culture, I'm Caribbean or I'm African. We work hard. Oh, we don't wait for handouts. Oh, we were taught you can't hang on to the past. That's what's wrong with Black Americans. They won't let it go. The past is our present. And it is disrespectful to tell a people on their land, on their soil, that we need to get over anything when all they keep telling us is we're running from here because of this. They are actively living in their pain. They're talking about age old wars, some current wars, but it's okay for them to hurt and to need some refuge, but not for us. So we never expected that anybody was going to come to our country that we actually fought for. I don't know if you guys know about the Exclusion Act. The Exclusion Act of 1965. No, the Exclusion Act, I think it was implemented in the 20s. The Immigration Act was to overturn the Exclusion Act. Africans, all Africans specifically, were prohibited from immigrating to the United States. All Mexicans, not Latinos, all Mexicans and Asians, very specific. Three groups of people that couldn't come here. And our dumbasses always believing the best in everyone. We thought our Black brothers and sisters were going to come over here and bring their numbers and, you know, be helpful and beneficial. And we've seen throughout history, they were wearing lapel pins that told the police that they weren't us, so they didn't get beat when their dignitaries came here. They knew that being a foreign Black was beneficial to them. And to this day, they're still trying to gaslight us. And so that is why we're having this room. Up next, we have DS. DS, sir.
I actually wasn't up next, but I'm actually enjoying the conversation. How you doing, friend?
Hey, man, I miss you.
Likewise, likewise. I'm still waiting to try that gumbo for 2022 now. We got to make up for it.
I know I didn't. Well, I did. Okay, I made some. I had a party, but I'm glad you missed it.
Okay, we ain't friends no more. Bye.
You know, every holiday, all you got to do is show up.
Yeah, but it was a damn pandemic though, so no, I wasn't doing that.
anywho, go ahead, man.
No, I mean the conversation has been spectacular,
Thank
and
you.
the thing about it is, I mean, this space and other spaces, they all get bad reputations because sometimes they go overboard, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you have extremists on all sides of the spectrums, whether you're a Republican and then you're a far right Republican, you're a Democrat, you're a far left Democrat, or you're FBA or autos, you're a far right or far left autos. So you just gotta sift through the bullshit and figure out what actually makes sense, you know, and what makes sense is that, we are definitely deserving of reparations. We're definitely deserving, you know, and I mean, I was shocked as hell when when California actually announced their, their reparation charge, and
But
you know,
Darren, did you know that was years of work in play?
absolutely. But I mean, there's been plenty of work and play, but for it to actually come to fruition right before my eyes is amazing. And between you and I know one of the people on that board.
So do I, and we all used to be in the same organization.
Okay, very interesting. We're gonna have to
Yeah.
definitely we have to break bread and have some more conversation.
Uh-huh.
But
As a matter of fact, are you talking about on the task force or?
yeah, on the task force.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
yeah, we're speaking the same language here.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's I mean, it's something that's going to happen, and the thing about it is, all of our lives, especially here in America, I grew up here in Los Angeles, and we are always taught to welcome everybody. When so and so come, when you go over so and so's house, if they're Spanish or Latino, hey, you're gonna eat what they eat. You're gonna eat what they serve. If you go over somebody's house or restaurant and it's a Chinese restaurant, you're gonna have that. Well, in other words, there's a saying that says, "When in Rome, do as the Romans." Right? Well, I don't think Africa got the memo because when they come here, they literally, you know, state the position. They want to be separate, and they try not to. They try their best not to do what we do, but and they don't understand what road has already been, been, what road has actually been paid for them, and it's difficult to watch them navigate and just ignore those factors. But I have a lot of faith in us as a people. I think at some point it's going to click. I think at some point, they're going to say, hey, we really need to follow their lead, Black Americans' leads, because we've been here for a very long time and we ain't going nowhere. So that's pretty much it.
Darren, thank you for that. I want to kind of veggie back on a couple of things you said. I like that you said, um, we're a good people, and hopefully one day it will click, particularly for Africans. And as contentious as some of these spaces in these clubhouse rooms have been, um, I do see Africans moving a little different. I see Caribbeans moving a little different. You can't unhear the things that you hear. You heard them, they're not going to leave you. You might forget if you've only been in there once. But what I'm seeing is, like, did you guys see when the UK Royals went to Jamaica last week or the week before, and there was the
Sure did.
protest outside?
Sure did.
Yep, Belize removed Queen Elizabeth as their head of state. Um, and they're using some of our talking points. South Africa, they have a hashtag, put South Africa first, and they reach out to us through social media, and they're like, we've gone through the same thing with Africans coming to our country and trying to take it over and push us out of our jobs, and white people favoring them over us, and blah blah blah. But I am seeing some conversations happening slowly, not enough. All of this discourse is leading to something good. And to your other point, Darren, you said, when Africans come here, they try their best to make sure that they're distinguishable from us. And that's why, like, a lot of them are removing the flags ever since this, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to call it beef, started. They know that if they let white people know they're not us, and this is also statistically proven, there's plenty of articles and studies and journals. White people are saying we like hiring Africans, we like working with Africans because we do not feel that same level of um, whatever contention. They don't feel that guilt. And they say they're so much more easier to work with. They're so nice. They say they like admitting them into school. And that's because, I'm sorry, A lot of them here, and some of them, some Africans came in this room today and spoke on it. They're bootlicks. A lot of them are kikiing and cooning for these white people, and that's why they're getting favored.
And the other part about that too, Connie, is the fact that they're not educated, and they come to this world of, this new world of, you know, milk and honey, right? And they're overwhelmed with all the beauty,
Yes.
but they don't understand the bloodshed that it actually took in order to actually accommodate this. But yet, we know this, and we give zero fucks right now, when someone actually steps out of bounds, because
We give what, Darren? Zero what?
zero fucks.
Zero fucks.
And the thing about it is, it's just one of those things where, due to technology, due to, progressing so well, knowing the law and pushing the law, we know exactly what we don't have to take, and we don't accept anything less than that at this point. So yeah, they're going to have a breath of fresh air when they have someone that doesn't know, or who's not as knowledgeable. And it's not any, I won't even say it's not any fault of their own, but it is, just because they don't take the time to really understand our culture.
But
Now,
Darren, didn't you say when you go to somebody else's land, you do as the Romans do? When I moved
exactly.
to Connecticut, I read up on Connecticut before I moved to Connecticut. I asked about Connecticut. I learned the history of Connecticut. How do you move to somebody else's country and tell them they're not shit when we've got people like Benjamin Banneker? Not only was he a great architect, but he created the first almanac.
100%. And the other thing, when I grew up, studying history from elementary, junior high, high school, college, all that, I had a love of learning that there were Black people, not just here in the United States, but all over the world. And
Yes.
my goal, as soon as I started traveling, from college, from Paris to London to Venice, to Brazil, to Rio de Janeiro, to Salvador Bahia, to Dominican Republic, Jamaica, all these different places. My goal was to hang out with all the Black people in all those different lands, whether it was in London or Paris, or it didn't matter what island I was in. And you know what I did when I got there? I respected the culture that was there. I fit in as much as I can, because I didn't want to overstep anyone's boundaries, and I had respect. And unfortunately, that's not what we see that's happening with this integration.
Well, can you imagine moving to Nigeria and then, any place we move, the people in this room, we're going to be elite. We're the people, it's not our people that are struggling, as they call it. I don't like the word the hood, but I don't know what else to call it. But our poorest people can't afford to go to Africa. So it would be us. So we would be elite, like they're elite here in our country. We would be exotic or exoticals. But what would we look like going to anywhere? Kenya, Somalia, Uganda, Senegal, Nigeria, and going, oh my God, look at how your people are living. What's wrong with you? Like, what? Who does that?
Exactly. And
That's
by nature,
wait,
we try to fix it.
wait. That's new nigga shit. That's new money niggas. You're not used to having anything if you act like that. And that's
Right.
what bothers me about the Black immigrants. You came all the way, I don't know how many miles, I'm just going to say 20,000 miles to get a whole ass degree. We get degrees in our own country and we don't brag about them because the shit ain't new to us. We don't travel 20,000 miles to get a job and then brag about it. I have degrees, nigga. I have a job, nigga. But I'm just saying, who the fuck does that? That's new nigga shit. My mom used to say, when you go someplace, act like you've seen and had nice things.
Right.
Yeah. And then another thing to your point about them separating themselves from us, Christina Greer is a professor, I believe, African American Studies, something. You guys can look her up, and she has some great videos. And this one interview, a woman was interviewing her, and she said she was so shocked when she started interviewing Africans, she didn't know that they didn't want to be Black Americans. And it shocked her. And she would ask them questions, and they pretty much were like, we're leaving countries so that we don't have to be subjected to X, Y, and Z. But why should we come here and be considered the bottom of the rung, the bottom of the barrel? So that's part of their issue. The second part of their issue is the cultural identity crisis. Studies have been done, I'm big on studies. Studies have been done that show for any immigrant, no matter what country you immigrate to, you're going to have an identity crisis because you're no longer in your comfort zone. You're no longer around your people. When I moved to the East Coast, it was tough on me. And that was just in the United States. Now they move here. And they're not just normal immigrants. They're not, Latinos or Asians or Eastern Europeans. They become Black people. And now you're in the shadow of Black Americans. Everybody knows who Black Americans are. So that's like a double blow. So they're trying to figure out how to get from under us. And now what we see is they've succumbed to, okay, well, we all Black. And they've made a conscious decision to be us. And that's rather sick, like I said earlier. Koreans don't run around claiming to be Japanese.
Hey, it's like the movie Us.
Yeah, no, they get mad. They were asking in the other room, what's a tether? What's a tether? Well, that's Tariq's term. But a tether is somebody that attaches themselves to someone else. You bind yourself.
That term is kind of tough. So that term is pretty rough.
You think it's rough?
It's a little bit of rough.
Oh, I don't
Just
think
the way,
so.
just the way it's being used, but that's just my opinion.
Well, whenever I hear Tariq, well, he just says tether, but a tether is a tether. And what we're seeing is people tethering themselves to us and pretending to be us. They're even now claiming that they created hip hop. Literally, every day they're arguing about they created hip hop. And we're like, if you created hip hop, why isn't hip hop huge in Africa? Can somebody tell us that? Oh, well, you got the drum beats from there. Well, in that case, the whole world, you created every genre of music because everybody came from Africa originally. They're saying they create the Jamaicans are saying they created jazz. Now, the crazy part about that is this is the replacement part, DS. This is the tether. So you've tethered yourselves to us. You're all over TV talking like us, using our AAVE, but you're telling us you're not us, but you're imitating our culture. Now you're running around claiming you invented shit that we invented. Now that's a fucking takeover. That's a hostile fucking takeover. That's a tether move. That's why they're calling them tethers. If you tether yourself to someone and you riding along with them for benefits, that's a tether. That's not a term I typically use, but that's what a tether means.
The new name is parasite.
That's an old name. that's a fact. You're a parasite. Like, how come they all get to be Haitian, Bermudian, Barbadian, Trinidadian, Senegalese, Ugandan, Malawian? But the minute we say we're not Black anymore, we're freedmen. We have a very distinctive ethnic name. We have a heritage that binds us to this land. Why are they upset? If we're all Black, then they should stop calling themselves all these other ethnicities, shouldn't they? Can somebody pipe in on that? Am I wrong in that train of thought?
No, they should be calling what they are their ethnicity. Stop calling themselves Black because they're not Black. That's our culture, period. All they're doing is trying to emulate us so they can get benefits because they're getting away with it because the government, white supremacy system is playing along with it. That's the reason, purpose for them to be here in the first place. So, no, you're not wrong.
Well, I'm just saying for you to make that conscious decision, like David Oyelowo and Daniel Kaluuya and all these actors playing our roles and playing our icons, and then they do an interview with the white press. Oh, how did it feel to play Martin Luther King? Oh, I don't want to talk about race. What? What'd you say? You're playing our icon, but you don't want to discuss race? Is you sick or is you dumb? Then they interview them. Oh, well, they keep saying there's like, why are you guys getting so many roles? Literally, they're saying because we're better than Black Americans. We're better actors. We're classically trained. Plus, we don't have the baggage of slavery and all the history. Well, wouldn't you think the person with the baggage could have played Harriet Tubman better than Cynthia Erivo, who ran around bucking her eyes, looking scared? A Black American would have been fucking fearless, shrewd, cunning, funny, loving, warm. She ran around bucking her eyes.
If they were so successful, why didn't they become successful in their own country? Why did you have to come here in order to be successful? You can't act your way out of a paper bag.
I mean, they're not here to ask. But I'm just saying, there is no beef. There is no, you know what? I guess there is beef now. There wasn't beef, but there definitely is beef now. That's, how we say, fuck around and find out. They didn't fucked around and found out. And what they don't know is this movement is spreading, and this isn't an anti-immigrant movement. The movement for reparations, like I said, is so many tentacles. It's wide. We're working on everything all over the nation, but we're also not going to allow anybody, even melanated people, to disrespect us. And to show you how big this movement is, somebody said, whenever I'm out, I pull over if I see police pulling over Black people. So yesterday I went to get some food. I'm driving and the cops are flying past me. And Darren, I was on God, what's the name of that park right there behind La Brea and Slauson?
Huh?
No, La Brea and Slauson. Over there by the Derwiener Schnitzel and that
Ladera Park.
Ladera Park. So I turned behind Ladera Park. Man, I was hungry, I was tired, and I saw them pull up, and it was a young Black girl, and it was like 4 cops around her. She's crying. She probably weighed 100 pounds. And then it was a white guy, some older white guy that she had been with, and he's sitting comfortably on the curb, and he's in a BMW, and she's crying. And then I realized, this might be a little prostitution shit going down, but whatever it was, she looked, she was a young girl. And so me and this other lady pulled over, got out of our cars. I talked mad shit to the police. Another story, another day. But, excuse me, the other lady that pulled over, she was like, do you know her? I said, no, I don't know her. I was like, do you know her? She said, no. Well, I just pull over because whenever Black people, so we are doing the damn thing. But then she said something. She said, oh, I'm ADOS. I said, what? I said, oh, I'm a Freedman. She said, okay. The movement is spreading. And what we're trying to tell the Black Africans, the Black immigrants, you better knock it off. We didn't come to the Haitians' aid when everybody would remember when the Border Patrol was hitting them with whips on the horses and trying to round them up. And we told them, why do you think that didn't happen? We didn't tweet about it. We didn't put up the Haitian flag. And it's because people like us that are actually in the streets doing the work, the activists, if we don't move, the masses don't move. The masses only move when they get the signal, the bat signal. We're not giving off the bat signal anymore. You're on your own. When that white man was arguing with the African guy and fucking with him every day, and all the Black people went and surrounded the African guy's house, he let that white man punk him. Then everybody was like, oh shit, he got a white wife, but that's another story. We're not doing that shit anymore. Like, fuck around and find out. We're done. You can't keep playing in our faces. My friend called me the other day, and an African man is messing with her on her job. Sweetest girl, sweetest person. Everybody, she's brand new. She's skyrocketing to the top. The owners love her. And this fucker is fucking with her every day. Like he may as well be a white supremacist. But anywho, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Who else hasn't spoken? California. I'm sorry, Cam Man. Cam, are you there? Cam. You're not there?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Not too much. How you doing? Greetings to everybody in the room. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I really don't have much to say. I say the same thing every time I'm able to grab the mic in any of these rooms. I'm a strong proponent of the Powernomics as written by the National Plan to Empower Black America. While we wait on our reparations, there's quite a bit of activity that we could be doing to empower ourselves. And Powernomics speaks of those type of activities, along with the Freedmen's Bureau, the work that they're doing with putting together the reparations lineage eligibility database. I support all those efforts. Peace and love to the room. Check out the Black Man Builders website and at the business register. Partake in the asset map as we try to implement the industrialization of our education of our men. And what that really means is one of the first steps we're doing is we're trying to take an inventory of the skills that we have in our community, right from our own men, and transform those into teachable things.
Hey, do you have a TV on in the background or something?
I sure do. I'm sorry about that. Is it that loud?
Well, I mean,
okay, sorry about that.
You know.
But yeah, again, just activity. There are things that we can do that could move us along in small increments, and that's what Powernomics is all about. And that's the foundation that the Black Man Builder Group is standing on. And
what's
again,
that
I first
website again? What's that website?
blackmanbuilder.com.
Cool.
Black Man Builder. They got a Twitter page too, also. But you know,
tag me on that when you get a chance.
I sure will. But you know, this organization is very young. It is very young, and it can use all the help that it can get. And the things that this organization is doing can be implemented in every single community. Everybody that's hearing this can do these things themselves. My name Cam is an acronym for Community Action Man. My real name is Kobe, but it's Kobe Cam Man, Community Action Man. And because again, we got to put action in our communities. And the Black Man Builder Group have set out some things, again, based around the principles of Powernomics, that if we do, it'll move us along the way, despite the resistance of white supremacy. Exactly why it's called power, against the resistance, and not for the economic portion. Industrializing our education. If we can take an inventory of the skills that our men have, and we have a survey on our website that'll help us do that. But we take an inventory of the skills that our men have, and then begin organizing around those skills, we then can translate those skills right into our young men and give them a tangible skills that they can use out here beyond what they are being taught in public high schools. And we don't need anybody else to do that. We don't gotta get no board of education approval of anything. All we have to do is organize ourselves. And the first way in doing that is taking an inventory of our skill set. And that's what Asset Map is about. And the Black Man Builder Group has an Asset Map survey that will begin to help us do that. There are people in other areas that want to use the technology that this website has to start organizing in their area. We are for it. That's exactly what we need to do. We can inventory our own communities and the men in our communities that have the skills, and organize around that and translate that into our young men. And then we can start building up our own communities in our neighborhoods like the Mexicans do when they get together. We have some very intelligent individuals. We are probably the most skilled work class in America. So it's time we start looking inward, and pulling the synergies right from amongst ourselves. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you and your work. Guys, I hope you heard everything he said. If you're not working, like sometimes, we're busy. You're trying to raise kids, you've got jobs, you've got businesses, you got life issues, you want to enjoy your life. If you're not a person to do the work, find an organization and write a check. If you can volunteer some time, contact an organization. You don't have to do, like in my organization, there's projects we're working on and we meet every week on different projects. But everybody can't do that. So some people are going to just volunteer, maybe like when we do events or to give out flyers or raise awareness. Try to do something. Tweet. Tweeting is important. Don't let anyone tell you that, oh, you're just a Twitter activist. If Twitter wasn't influential, Elon Musk wouldn't have bought all those shares. If Twitter wasn't influential, trending wouldn't be a thing. Social media is a tool. If you have to be a Twitter activist or a Clubhouse activist, spread the word, share information. I'll ask everyone to stop right now. I'm going to stop talking for 10 seconds. Can you all please stop right now and write a tweet about anything? But we have to save the Black town of Mason, Tennessee. The hashtag tweet, but use this hashtag save Mason TN. Save Mason TN. Hashtag Save Mason TN. I'm going to stop for 10 seconds. Please get involved. Tweet that right now, please. Thank you. All righty. We had a nice little commercial break here. We're only going to go for maybe 5 or 10 more minutes. Did anybody want to say?
I have something real quick to say. Do you mind if I mention April Shower if Cam reaches out or anybody else?
I do.
That no. Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
You can talk to me offline. No, you can talk to me offline.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry about that, but you could talk to me offline about that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else? So we're going to close the room if nobody else has anything. So let me just say this. Thank you for coming. Please follow me. Again, the organization of which I'm the executive director is nceej.org. nceej.org. Our Twitter account, we're a new organization right now. There's not a lot of followers, but we're going to start our social media back up again. It's NCEEJ team. Please follow that. What else did I want to tell you? Remember, if you're a reparationist and you believe in this movement, we are showing that it can be done. We have the reparations task force going on here in California, Evanston, Illinois. Now, some of these things doesn't mean they're great, things going, but people are talking about reparations. Austin, I can't think of where. Anywhere. Different universities, churches are giving reparations to people, descendants of people that they enslaved. This movement is working. All we have to do is keep going, keep sharing information, learn as much of our history as possible. One, it'll make you proud. Two, you're able to share with your family or friends, and as they're slow to wake up, you have things to counter their feeble arguments. We have to get to work. It is so important. We are not a bipartisan group. We're neither Democrat nor Republican. This movement is trying to teach us to be politically savvy. What we are doing is telling people if they don't have a Black agenda, don't vote for them. That doesn't mean don't vote at all. Look at your ballot and see if there's some initiatives you want to vote for. Are there candidates that are doing things that you like? Vote for them. But we have a congressional Black caucus that is failing us miserably. And a great majority of them have turned out to be Black immigrants. And they're fighting for everyone, specifically LGBTQ. LGBTQIA now just added a 2 and a P on the end. So I guess they're going to have the whole alphabet and the whole numerical system in a minute. But anyway, forget all that. They fight specifically for Latinos, Indian Americans, Asians. They fight for everybody but us. Kamala Harris, go Google hashtag Ask Kamala. Hashtag Ask Kamala. A video is going to come up where she was asked about reparations and she got sassy. You know, she's not even black. That's an Indian woman. Her dad is Jamaican, but he's an Indian Jamaican. And her mom is a Brahmin Indian. And she's always sworn in as an Indian. She has never sworn in as a black woman, ever. So she's not our first black vice president. In this video, she says, oh, am I going to say I would do something to just benefit black people? The past, people said, oh, they said, the old heads aren't, didn't do it right. Okay, we're getting better. We're evolving. We have to be politically savvy. Politics is actually fun. Politics is where the money is. They pass these bills that are performative, but there's no money attached. Everybody else gets a bill and there's funding. The Asians got a hate crime bill. What a lot of us don't know is read that bill. It helps us too. Anybody can use the provisions of that bill except for the money. The money was specifically earmarked for Asians. Everyone gets money. The Native Americans just got all that more land given to them in Oklahoma, damn near half of freaking Oklahoma. Everyone is getting money. As that guy from Kiddo Dynamite says, money. Everyone's getting money because our politicians.
Hi, family. I'm not really sure what's going on with her sound. But this is a great place for me to interject my comments about what we just heard. Shout out to all of my co-hosts in the chat. I see you, fam, and I love you black and strong. Let me just get into it because I got to jump on another Twitter space to talk about my Freedmen voter strategy, of which I'll finish out this particular live with, okay? Now, the brother was saying that they're sending them back after they're done using them. What he was speaking to was when these white folks are done using you as a tool, they break their tools, okay? And I don't believe they're sending them back. When they're done breaking their tools. What I see with my third eye, which is the first eye, is that they're on a fast track to ethno-genocide us to as few in numbers as the Indians. Why do you say that, Angela TRP? Well, I say that because that's what I'm bearing witness to. Mike Tyson just recently shared on Joe Rogan while getting high, but I hear there's some elements of truth to it, that these white folks are literally hunting the homeless. And we know that there's a record number of young Black boys and girls that are missing. We know that there's organ harvesting because these immigrants and white folks alike, the ones especially with the money, that killed and stole all the wealth that our ancestors generated with their lives, they're into some very sordid, sick, diabolical, twisted things. And they know the power of our Blackness. And so if you ever saw the movie Get Out, this is what's happening to a lot of our young Black boys and girls. You see, when you have neutralized a people like ourselves economically, you can do whatever you choose because we're in survival mode by and large. Now, those of us here are some of the more fortunate, but we're still not sharing in the 2.3 trillion that 10% of Blacks share in. We're more like sharing in the less than 700 billion since COVID. And so when you are in the fight of your lives to keep a roof over your head and food on the table, this is when they do the most nefarious things to your people. And what I'm explaining, if you just got here, is why I believe the plans are almost complete to extinct freed people to as few in numbers as the Indians. They don't want to pay this justice claim. And so this is why they will not put an end to qualified immunity. You know, I was talking with my daughter today, and she was saying, Mom, the police out here don't even bother us like that, I don't see that happening the way I see advertised all over the country. And I said, you lead a very charmed life, sweetheart. You're a beach baby. You grew up around the beach. You grew up in a very diverse community. And what you find is that, God has richly blessed me to be able to afford property in a neighborhood that's been gentrified. But if you just go over to South Central or Compton, wherever there are pockets where they have yet to gentrify, you're going to see the police behave very differently towards our people. And so that's just the absolute truth. We're choosing colleges, and Morgan State is a beautiful college in Baltimore. Beautiful campus. But guess what? It's plopped square in the middle of a hood that my baby knows not of. She doesn't know that kind of life. And she knows about that life because my people, stay on East North Avenue. And she recalled going to the corner store to get popsicles with her grandpa, my dad, and how many crackheads they saw that my father knew because they all live amongst each other in the hood. This is where Freddie Gray was executed by the race soldiers that walked. So she's led a charmed life and doesn't really know police brutality in the way that far too many of our people know. And I have to always keep it real with her that she's the exception, not the norm for a free Black. And you can couch yourself in a certain amount of diversity in gentrified neighborhoods that you can totally escape fighting for those who are far less fortunate. And that's what generally ends up happening because you're not exposed to it. It's not in your neighborhood. But me having grown up with a dad who was a Black Panther, there's no way I can drink champagne while my people drink lead water. And that is true for the majority of us at the forefront of this reparations fight. What's going to happen to these immigrants, the Black ones in particular, is once they're done with us, once they're done extincting us to as few in number as the Indians, those Black immigrants will be around 60 million. They're at around 4.5 million in this country. And we were 4 million when we fought and won our emancipation. And what the white oppressors have done is give them position over us to suppress us because it benefits their bottom line to make pets of the Black immigrants, because they're very much about that yes, a massa kind of disposition for their butter biscuits. They love getting position over us, and they do so by what I call cooning. And they spoke on it, how White folks can't get that over on freed blacks. And they very well know the difference because these immigrants weaponize their accents and their last names to get position over us. And they do a lot of brown nosing. They do a lot of marrying of the white oppressor. And, this is how they're gaining in position to be our black white oppressors in the country our ancestors built with their lives. But when they're done with us, they're coming for the black immigrant. And the Mexicans will be next in line because they're heavily populated in this country. And so what you see right now happening is a whitening of the browning of America, because that insurrection was white folks getting mad in this country. They're angry that immigrants are superseding them in terms of income and wealth, especially the Asians and the Asian Indians. So just like our white oppressors used us to suppress white folks and to suppress their salaries, they're using immigration against us to extinct us. It's very different. The plans for us are very much more nefarious than, just suppressing salaries. They want us gone. They want to replace us. They want to make the black immigrants our replacement because these black immigrants kiss their asses for position over us. They know full well what the history is because these Africans descend from slave traders. They like to try to soften what happened to us by claiming that we were kidnapped. But no, they were instrumental in trading us. And they owned us as slaves. And they tried to give a pass for that by saying it wasn't chattel. They sold us to Arabs and they sold us to Europeans. But we suffered the worst of it all here in this country. The worst of it all. The worst heinous chattel slavery. We were literally treated like animals. Our ancestors were animals. Treated like worse than animals. To this day, you'll see these white folks protect an animal over the life of an unarmed black man, woman, or child. Freed people. And I say freed people because, once again, when you are making six figures, like I shared with you, the Africans here in LA were doing 8 years ago, you don't live in the neighborhoods where the race soldiers get away with executing you by state sanction. So I say that to say they're thousands times more wealthy, and they're fighting for a piece of the reparations so they don't have to be us, because capitalism requires a bottom caste, and the color of white in this country is green. Hold on one second, family. So yes, back to my thought. Yeah, capitalism requires a bottom caste. You have to understand that's how capitalism works. Okay, it requires a bottom caste, and we are in the fight of our lives to prevent from becoming the permanent bottom caste. And the only way to accomplish that is to get the reparations we are owed in the quadrillions. Now, the challenge with that is, as you also heard in the live, each and every time we've successfully pulled ourselves up by our bootless straps. Each and every time we've done that. These white supremacist oppressors have either legislated us out of it, or they've They've brought the war on drugs, now the war on poverty to our communities. Like, they've come up with ways to make sure we never get up off this bottom. And so, yeah, you know, what you see right now is a godsend. You see us as the contemporary grassroots reparations movement weaponizing these social media spaces, as Connie so eloquently put it. We are the Twitter, the Facebook, and the ScrewTube activists. Our message has gone viral. We made reparations a hot topic of debate during the presidential race, and we won't let it go because we've got these spaces and can literally shout out the Coonan Congressional Black Caucus right in Twitter. And we hit hard, and we hit often, regularly and readily. And we have taught ourselves how to project take over the bills that are being crafted in these countries. Narcan and Cobra thought they were going to get that off out here. They thought that they were going to take over our table. And C-Jack and Nas-D built with the help of Ice Cube, who got that AB 3121 signed by Newsom before the bill turned to dust. And so you got people like myself and my comrades who've been in this for 3 years, and look at the fruit. You got a bunch of agents of chaos who are dragging us and dogging us out, but we got fruit. We're bearing fruit because we grind. We project take those tables over. Unakin to one agent of chaos whose name I won't even give mention, but she told us to go take over the white moneyed NAACP and National Urban League tables. But we said we got to take over these bills because whether you like it or not, they're going to do some form of reparations with or without you. And if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and you'll get a watered down version of what that looks like if you don't get involved. So yeah, reparations is the only way to close the over hundreds of trillions of household dollars. It's the only way to close this egregious racial wealth gulf. We don't need class-based policies nor race-based reparations, which don't fix Freedmen. We're the one in the most dire position. Like I said, we've got some outliers. Those of us who are fortunate to come into this space are the outliers. But hey, even amongst some of those, we're suffering in silence, struggling to make it. And it's no fault of our own. Our white oppressors are doing this. And tragically, the Black immigrants, especially the African ones who descend from slave traders, are complicit in helping them to ethno-genocide our people. But we're a resilient people. And we've come this far by faith and moving our feet as we pray. And that's what you see happening now. And there is a contagion growing. What we've done here in California to get lineage-based reparations has caught on all over the world. You see people all over the world fighting for their reparations because we took our mustard seed and we held on to it and we kept grinding despite what the agents of chaos said about us, despite the chairs that were thrown at us, despite the name calling, despite the decimation of some of our campaigns and some of our super PACs and the things we've been trying to do, despite all of the weapons that have formed, they have yet to prosper, and they won't, because we go with our inner Christ and the ancestors are with us. And so, yeah, white supremacists, black white oppressors, immigrant white oppressors. It's a big thing. But our inner Christ is bigger. And that's what we prove. Every time we keep getting up. The blood is on us in this movement. And so we continue on in a very fearless way until the victory is won. I'm going back to my notes. Okay. So what you've got to concern yourself with is how these black immigrants, these tethers, are taking over the government at every branch. Like Dr. Claude Anderson often intimated, if you didn't get nothing at number 2, imagine what it's going to feel like when you number 4. And that's what the Biden administration is working feverishly to guarantee. Just like they've neutralized us economically by legislating us to the bottom of this Titanic as the anchor of the country's capitalism, they are now on a mission to neutralize our vote because far too many of us have awakened to their nefarious plans to ethnogenocide us. And they managed to use our people, not me, even the agents of chaos who told us to go be the solution, and now wants to take credit for all the work we've done. Excuse me. Foolishly told the former ADOS movement to go vote for their own peril when she instructed them to vote Democratic down the ticket. When you see it is the Democrats have a trifecta and American freedmen are the only ones in distress, getting symbolism over reparations and protections. So that's why I came up with my Freedmen voter strategy after much prayer. And it is to vote for closed border candidates, including our reparations candidates, Marcel Dixon in South Carolina, Tamara Johnson Shealy in Georgia, and William Somerville here in California. And even if they don't win, if we can get them a large segment of the votes, fam, the bottom line is they're going to send a huge message to the Democrats that their days are numbered. And just notice how 87% of our electorate went to vote blue no matter who, despite Kagame and Biden's records against freed blacks. They pushed the button to unseat Trump, an overt racist in office of 4 years with no records against freed blacks. And what they did in effect was sign up for the next phase of the ethnogenocidal plans of the Dixiecrats. They are complicit in helping the Dixiecrats to replace us every time they press that blue button. So once again, my Freedmen voter strategy is to vote closed border candidates only, including our reparationist candidates, Marcel Dixon, South Carolina, Tamara Johnson Shealy, Georgia, Reverend William Somerville, California. No, you can't afford to stay home. You can't afford not to vote because you can't afford to throw your vote away on a third party. Because when you do either of those three things, you are literally putting the fate of our lineage in the hands of immigrants who hate us and white folks who hate us. So just another mention of this talking point. White folks used us to suppress the wages of other white folks. They've been weaponizing immigration against us since Andrew Johnson took away our 40 acres and a mule And then our white slaveholders got reparations, $300 per slave. And then the white immigrants were flooding the zone. And so our white slaveholders and white immigrants alike shared in 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 Homestead Acts. And this is how we got here on the bottom. Connie was absolutely right. There was a period, I grew up in an era of GM and manufacturing jobs that paid well enough to be able to afford a home, car. To put you, college was free at one point, or damn near free. You could educate your children. Just like Reconstruction, Black folks had a small period during Reconstruction, and then the Glacier Donkeys took the Union out of the South, and there was Black codes, Jim Crow, convict leasing, sharecropping, the terror that reigned on us after having fought and won the Civil War for the Union, which gave us our emancipation. The Union pulled out and let the Confederates have their way in our never-ending Holocaust, you see. So yeah, the immigrants are definitely complicit, but this is the ethno-genocidal plans of these white Dixiecrats and these white Republicans. For me, it's not a party thing, it's a Freedmen flourishing thing. And it's time that we neutralize our most imminent threat, which is immigration. We must do it. And we can only do that by pitting the parties one against the other. Because as you clearly see, the Dixiecrats can sabotage and compromise whole primaries. And I don't put it past them to have stolen this election during the pandemic and the mail-in ballot. So my strategy is not one that's just for the midterm. We must bring the Dixiecrats to their knees. And the only thing we've got left to do that with, since we've been neutralized economically, is our vote. So back to my point, let me put a pin on it and move on to the next. These white Glacier Donkeys used freed Blacks to suppress the wages of their white poor. Those that did indentured servitude and different folks that they wanted to make sure they keep a caste system going, even over their own people. They don't give a damn about their own people. They give less than a damn about freedmen. But we can pressure and we can use the power of our vote to put full-chested reparationists in Congress akin to the squad. And like Marcel Dixon said on the Black Authority, if they refuse to green light his legislation to give us the reparations, he's going to look to us to destroy them when it comes time to vote. He's going to need us to destroy them at the polls the way I'm employing upon you to destroy them at the polls come this midterm. Don't you dare be politically lazy and stay home. Don't you dare do it. Your children and your grands and your great-grands and your entire lineage is counting on you to grow a backbone akin to our ancestors who knew when to leave the Republicans for the Dixiecrats for civil rights, which we enjoyed for a short time. Those days are long gone, and it ain't our fault. There was a point made about how these immigrants send $148 billion home per year. Well, these Glacier Donkeys' racist hate towards freed Blacks has cost them $20 trillion. So they don't give a damn what it cost to ethno-genocide us. They're willing to pay that price. So we must weaponize our vote and socialize this suffering. Because the only ones in distress when the Dixiecrats have a trifecta are freedmen. Everybody else got their bags. And as a matter of fact, they're so arrogant with it, they're insisting on more. They're demanding more. So yeah, this country's racist hate towards freed blacks specifically costs $20 trillion. So they don't give a damn that these immigrants are here sending money overseas to their families. As long as we stay on the bottom, they don't give a damn what it costs. They're willing to pay that price. They mentioned about white folks dying disproportionately from opioid addiction. Not anymore, since Biden opened up the floodgates and allowed the Mexican cartel in the country. They're lacing our freed blacks' drugs with fentanyl. Now we're the ones dying disproportionately from drug overdose. And Biden is doing that too by design. Yeah. He's offering $30 million in crack pipes because he wants to euthanize our drug addicted. Because guess why? He can't use them as slaves in the private prison industrial complex. So he's euthanizing them. Out here in LA, if you're loitering, it's a crime now. You can't be homeless. Being homeless is a crime here. They're arresting them and disappearing them. And I believe Mike Tyson, when he told Joe Rogan that they're hunting the homeless for sport. These white, sadistic, and immigrant sadistic glacier donkeys are executing our homeless for sport. Look up the film called The Hunt. So yeah, we're the ones dying disproportionate, and the $30 million crack pipes are to euthanize our drug addicted, our homeless, and letting in the Mexican cartels to lace the drugs is a part of that euthanization by our government. With respect to seeing Africans while growing up, I agree with some of the elders. I didn't see many Africans, just like I didn't see many Asians. That's how small a number they were in the country. You know, this is just a recent surge. And like I said, these are our replacements. These tethers are our replacement. They either want a piece of the reparations or they want to guarantee they get it caught up in the courts where we will never receive it. We need all hands on deck. If you want to get involved, please Gmail me at therepperspect@gmail.com. And to the brother's earlier point about doing more than just reparations, we're absolutely doing quite a bit. Just like Barack Obama gave these immigrants the New America's offices all over the country, we're now pushing for the Office of Freedmen Affairs all over the country. Coming to a state near you, stay tuned. And we're pushing for Freedmen UBI. We're not just waiting for the long game of reparations. We're getting shit done right now. And so if you want to get involved with these efforts, please Gmail me at therepperspect@gmail. The Gmail is scrolling in the bar below. So yeah, we didn't see many Africans growing up. This is a recent influx, which is why, furthermore, let me tell you something. If you got here after the 1965 Immigration Act and you migrated here by your own choosing, you will never get a penny of our reparations for racism. You clearly know, and you clearly knew what this country was on before you fled your Holocaust to come here. And y'all are getting your nigga wake-up call. I don't relish in that, but you chose to get in bed with the glacier donkeys instead of aligning with freed blacks. So you are now suffering those consequences. And it's going to get worse before it gets better, to Noir Dos's point. They're bringing in the neo-Nazi Ukrainians to replace these black immigrants. So you've been forewarned. What they did to us with you, they're going to do to you with the whites that they're importing and flooding the zone with. When it comes to proving who we are, don't sit up here and listen to these long lecturers at the damn task force hearings. They know full well who we are. Okay? There's no confusion. Folks just pretending to be confused because they don't want to pay the reparations, so they're using every stall tactic. Proving that you descend from U.S. chattel slavery is as easy as showing your birth certificate or that of your mother's and your father's or that of your grandparents. Our birth certificates say Negro, which Barack Obama struck in the Constitution, saying that we took some offense to being referred to as Negro on the census forms. You see the puckery going on by these would-be African Americans who descend from slave owners and Kenyan. It's just unfreaking believable. But yeah, Negroes no longer, federally recognized, but it is on many of our birth certificates along with colored and mulatto. All of what they talk about, how you got to dig here and dig there and pay this, that, and the third, it's a lie. So that's another thing we're working on, disaggregating the data, getting our special distinction as American freedmen put on the census, and being able to just show up with your birth certificate or that of your grandparent or your parent or your grandparent to just collect your checks. It's as simple as that. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I mentioned prior that these black immigrants are fighting the way they are because they don't want to take this L that we've been holding down for 500 years. But it's time to trade places with them and the Mexicans. It is what it is. And another thing you need to know is that as we fight for reparations in the quadrillions over multi-generations, we're also building in protections. These glacier donkeys will be executed if they come for us. And we're building up a wall because please know that as soon as we procure the reparations, you're going to see folks come out the woodwork trying to get a piece of the repair. Yeah, you're going to see lots of folks trying to become $5 white freedmen, Asian freedmen, Hispanic freedmen. Yeah, it's going to get, so we got to put up a secure enough gate around the reparations that no one gets it but American freedmen who descend from U.S. chattel slavery. Now, I'm really over our people sitting up here telling us, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so tired I could take off running. My words leave me when I'm sleepy. I get tired of this inspirational bullshit that folks be talking. Totally inspirational. You need to get something. You need to save something. You need to leave something. What's this? Get this. Listen. We have a national median income of around $40,000 with a national median home price of $400,000. Give me a freaking break with this aspirational kind of bull stuff you be coming up in here talking about. Folks act like we balling and just wasting money on weaves and nails and Jordans. We've been neutralized economically. Folks are using every dime they've got in this inflation, okay, for their very survival. They're not out here just blowing money. They got more month than they got money. So let's stop it with this aspirationalism. Yes, you should do everything in your power to pull yourself up by your bootless straps, akin to how we got to 60 million from 4. You should absolutely encourage your kids to major in entrepreneurship, to major in the trades, to get back to the very things they took from our schools, so we wouldn't be able to come out here and gross $200,000 a year as carpenters and the like, plumbers and the like. They took those trades right up out the school. And then Cam Newton want to talk about thoughts don't know how to cook and clean. Well, we used to have home ec when I was growing up. And we used to have industrial arts for the boys to learn wood shop and all manner of things with their hands so they could be builders. Those things were purposely taken from us so that you can get the thought culture that you're experiencing right now. That was by design. This is a part of the ethno-genocidal plans, along with the war on drug and the war on poverty. Folks always want to sit up here and have a pissing match between who's killing the who the most, whether it's the glacier donkey executing us by state sanction or whether there's more black on black crime and murder. When there was Italian crime and murder, when they were poor, when there was Irish crime and murder, when they were poor. This is what happens as a byproduct of poverty and robbing us of the necessary resources we need for our very survival. So please miss me with it and stop that false comparison. And stop with this aspirationalism. Yeah, you need to definitely do something, but please don't come up in these spaces talking this yang about what you save, what you keep. There ain't nothing to keep. If you make it $40,000 a year and the average home price is $400,000, that's a hit in your hand for your ass that you got more month than you do money. It doesn't mean don't do everything you can, but when you got kids, can you reasonably work 2 and 3 jobs? Who's going to raise the kids? Oh, that's right, the foster care. Oh, that's right, the detention centers. Oh, that's right, the abortion clinics. All by design. You need to look at this thing with your eyes wide open. So do know that it's the white man, it's the white supremacist, the white glacier donkey who are responsible for how we got here. Every time we have pulled ourselves up by our bootless straps, they have decimated us in one way or another. So now we've got to be smart about how we move, and we got to put a secure gate on the reparations, and we got to keep a secure gate, and we have to make death the punishment for anybody that comes for us once we rebuild again. It's got to be a federal hate crime, and they must get life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death chair. Execution. To me, execution would be too generous. I believe they need to be the slaves in the private prisons. So basically, back to my other point, how the laws are designed so that you don't get to be a homeowner. For those of you that have been rocking with me for a while, you know how God put the blood on my door after the 2008 real estate crises when Barack Obama chose to bail out Wall Street and the banks that refused to lend with us. He didn't put any regulations on them. He didn't put any audits on them. So over 50% of us lost our homes, which was our wealth that we were intending to bequeath to our children. We lost that wealth. Well, I was trying to get a loan modification that Bank of America dragged out for 2.5 years. And in the meanwhile, they were trying to foreclose on me. They were trying to foreclose on this property, 20-minute walk to the beach. These banks were getting paid triple time over all those wrongful foreclosures. There was a lawsuit that was filed, right? That lawsuit that was filed, the settlement was $25 billion amongst the majors. My home was spared. My mortgage cut in half. And I thank God for that, for sparing my home. That was a permanent principal loan reduction, okay? Not no mod that goes back up on the interest in 5 years. So this is what I mean when I tell y'all that these white supremacist oppressors, their plans are very nefarious and very big. But the God that rested in each and every one of us on the seventh day and named us the best of all its creation is bigger than this. And that's what you got to tap into beyond the appearance. This is how we are able to lean in on the reparations. We know the truth of that inner God. Okay? I'm going down my notes. We must teach our kids to become entrepreneurs. Social media is the best thing to ever happen to the movement, to ever happen to Freedmen, to ever happen to us. Because guess what? You can literally build you an online business where they can't discriminate against you. And that's what you need to be about doing. You need to find a way to make your multiple six figures, your multiple millions on the internet. And you need to teach your children to do the same. This is our lifeline from God because guess what? We have no social capital at the hiring tables. The Hispanics and the Latinas and the white folks, they're not hiring us. Out here, you got to speak Spanish just to get a job interview. I don't care if you speak it as fluent as Pedro. They're not hiring you. You don't have the complexion for the protection. And that's true all over the country. And gaining traction all over the country. So we need to weaponize these internet streets and gain our fortunes that way and teach our kids to do the same. My daughter is going to major in college in entrepreneurship. Yes, yes, yes. She wants her private practice as an orthodontist. You need to learn how to run business, and she's going to learn. They didn't have entrepreneurship when I was growing up. And oh, how I wish they had. Because this isn't something that was second nature for us. We were groomed to be the corporate slaves, to be the public sector slaves. And now our children have a chance to major in entrepreneurship and create business coming right out of college. It's a beautiful thing. This is what we must do. In the meantime, Remember, reparations is the long game. We got to do something immediately right now to survive this. Another point I want to make is that we've always pulled ourselves up by our bootless straps, but the white supremacist glacier donkeys have always executed, lynched us, and burned down everything we've ever built. So we're not new to this, we're true to this, okay? That's what we do. That's what we do. That's how brilliant and beautiful and talented we are. And that's why everybody hates us, with some exception. But by and large, we're the most hated because we're the strongest of everyone. Look at what we've survived. Look at what our ancestors were made of, that we sit here today and commune over this broadcast. Look at what our ancestors were made of. Look in the mirror and admire the beauty and the brilliance that is hardwired in your DNA, and give thanks. So instead of Project taking over white moneyed organizations like One Agent of Chaos, who comes to mind, told and instructed us to do early on upon co-founding the former ADOS movement, you need to Project take over these bills. They're going to happen with or without you. Here under AB 3121, the bill was already there. We got with the author of that bill, State Secretary Dr. Shirley Weber, and we got our amendments in there. Special consideration for freed blacks, and to make sure we get 2 checks, that whatever the state does, it doesn't usurp what the feds owe us. So if you don't Project take over these bills, you're going to end up with a housing voucher akin to Evanston in Chicago, Evanston, Illinois, where Narcan and Cobra are over it. About 16 people were recipients. And I don't even know, given the median income, if they qualify for a home loan to give that money back to the white man in the form of a down payment. I don't even think they qualify. Those who've got homes already, they can use the money for home improvements. But if you don't Project take this over, then you get what you get. You can no longer afford to be politically lazy. Once again, my Freedmen voter strategy: vote for only closed border candidates to neutralize our most imminent threat, immigration, and our reparations candidates. Because none of this happens until we get a Congress full of Marcel Dixons. We got to at least tip the scales and get rid of everybody in the Coon and Black Caucus, okay? They need to go. It's time to get them out. You have to remember that Clyburn helped these Indians, the Catawba Indians who once owned us, not even in his district, they're by and large in North Carolina. But you see, he's like Obaden. Obaden sat up here and said he ain't going to even think about giving us reparations until he can give Native Americans even more repair. Why is that? Because the $5 white Indians bought onto the Dawes rolls, while the freed descendants of Cherokee and Seminole Indians still have yet to see a dime of reparations from the Constitution. They're owed it. But he would rather give it all to them in continuum, because there's a lot of white $5 Indians benefiting from all that repair. And so Coon Clyburn, whom Marcel Dixon is running to unseat in South Carolina, he was the one that drafted that bill for the Catawba white Indians who once owned us as slaves, to get land and casinos tax-free. So Coon and Clyburn enlarged the territory of the Catawba Indian while doing nothing but paying lip service to his belief in us being repaired. But he ain't drafted no bills, ain't sponsored nothing, ain't done nothing to ensure we get repair. And there's going to be a No to HR 40 campaign rolling out soon. So stay tuned for that, because there's no cash consideration and it's not lineage based. They want all blacks to get whatever's coming of it, akin to CARICOM, who told us we're not included in their do-nothing burger of a bill. That CARICOM crap, I've already done the archive. You can look it up. There's no cash in it. And they trying to fight us off as if they doing something with that. No, Narcan and Koba have crafted what they intend for freed blacks while locking us out of access to our own reparations table. They have crafted their demands based on CARICOM. There's no cash. But I did see Cobra sneak cash in as a form of repair, because they're confident now that they've taken over our federal reparations table. They're confident that all blacks will get federal repair. So now they snuck cash in there for consideration because they want that Skrilla. Like I said prior, the plans may form, but they will never prosper. Lastly, we are doing things in addition to pursuing reparations. I've rambled off a couple things that we're doing. If you want to get involved, we need all hands on deck. Gmail me at thereprospect@gmail.com. I want to thank you guys. Let me go through here and give some love, because I'm too tired to read your comments. And I got to see if they're still on that other space to go and talk up my Freedmen reparations strategy. Thank you, DJ Segwan, T. Shields, BB Rodriguez, Ivy Dreams. I love y'all so much. Y'all my faithfuls. Slice Oh Hell. Thank you for being here, keeping the chat jumping. I so appreciate you. When you play it back, you'll be able to read these comments. These are my faithfuls over here. I just love y'all black and strong, for real, for real. Rap fan, I see you, my love. Derek Askew, American Dude. Lion O'Reilly. Y'all are the wind beneath my wings. You never understand what it means to me that you support my voice in the space as New Black Media. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not for everybody, but I'm glad I'm for you. Thank you, Racebook, for tuning in. Thank you, Twitter, for tuning in. I will be back. I don't know if I'm coming back tomorrow. I've got a huge meeting on No to HR 40 so we can finalize that action plan. Stay tuned for that. So if I don't get time, I'm going to try to come back tomorrow, because I definitely I got a couple things I want to do. I want to address the Black Authority. I want to address what he's saying about Camila. I kind of want to do that in real time, play him and then speak on it in between. I kind of want to do that real time. And then I'm going to definitely play the Black Authority's interview with Marcel. It was just rich, rich, and more rich. So yeah, I'll be back. Wednesday, I got a huge track meet. Probably won't do it then unless I get some time in between court. Friday, another huge track meet. We're coming down the stretch. So y'all know I'll be here. I'll try to give you as much advance notice as I can. But I'll be back with more relevant Freedmen content, more mind-blowing content. I thank you for being here. And until next time, family, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Freedmen and its allies are, God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. If no one's told you today, family, know this, that I love you black. I love you oh so strong. Yes, I do. Until we meet again, family, I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of of your evening and work week. Yes, I do. And until we meet again, I believe it for each and every one of us. A ton of peace, love, and reparations, reparations, reparations. I'm out.